Mpacho maintaining kan yo like one frame in so 3 days ni akwala no po ne ho mfa no 3 days ni a ono na okoba ansa na ye didi 3 days ni me nya ndidi ye.
But I will still appeal to the people of Ghana to be very respectful of people in uniform.
Tonight, citizens gather to have their say about the military we have versus the military we deserve. In the wake of the military invasion of Ashaiman that left more than 100 residents brutalized following the tragic, unfortunate killing of an officer. Citizens home and abroad will connect after the break. Live on Joy 99.7 FM, this is Ghana Connect. And this week, all across social media and mainstream media, one story dominated the headlines, dominated charts, dominated the trends. It had to do with the military invasion of Ashaiman. As we speak, there are still families looking for their loved ones. They still haven't located them. We know from what the members of parliament have told us and what the military themselves told members of parliament when they appeared before them yesterday, that there are over 30 of these residents that the military took away, that they've now handed over to the police. But the ordeal we've had from those who suffered and were brutalized has been harrowing.
Ma Tuesday na assemblea no po no nim say bibi because we are wanting to private na mu chi no.
On Tuesday, when the military was conducting the swoop, he had no idea what was happening. They arrested him on his way to a public toilet in the neighborhood.
3 days ni ono na okoba ansa na ye didi.
It has been 3 days now, and I have not heard anything from him. Our child is unwell. He's the breadwinner of the family. He takes care of us financially. It has been difficult getting food to eat. 3 days, I have not been able to send our child to the hospital. I am begging government to intervene for him to be released. My husband knows nothing about what happened.
Bema camp. So when we go to Bema camp, they were training us. They were training us for some time before they called us for interview. And moreover, to the high-ranking military people over there weren't allowing them to touch us. But when they try to touch us, they don't let them see that they are touching us. Yeah, that's when they will start to beat you if the high-ranking people, high-ranking military men are not looking at us. That's where they try to beat us.
You also have marks on your body?
Yeah, I do have marks on me.
Wait, what caused this? What did they use to beat you?
Any weapon they're having on their hands. Others were using rope.
They still have some bruises.
They were using...
These are assault marks behind you.
Others were using neem tree branches and cables, PVC pipes and all types of things that they are holding.
So when were you released? Were you released on the same day?
Yeah, I was released on the same day around 11 p.m.
So you were also only in boxer shorts?
Yes.
No singlet or anything?
No dress, no dress.
And they dropped you at what?
A Sherman runabout. This is crazy. Oh.
He has marks all over his body.
People were naked in clothes. No, nothing was on them. We were beaten excessively to the extent that it was 8 a.m. When they brought their car, took us to military Michel camp. We were detained at Michel camp for about 3 to 4 hours. When they went for another operation at Ashaiman Tulaku and brought another suspect of about 100 and something to join us. So we went to Bema camp from 4 p.m. At Bema camp, we were drilled.
So the first place you were taken to was Michel camp.
Michel camp.
And then from Michel camp, you were taken to Bema camp.
We were taken to Bema camp, where the military police were and the investigation was done. Whilst the investigation are done, we were beaten by the military men that are there. Whilst they are hurt, their friend was asking for help. We, the community, did not give them help.
What happened at Bema camp?
Oh, we were beaten totally. We were beaten. You roll on the floor. You eat like a dog on the floor. When you are in this coordination and you want to have a nature's call living, they said 1 second, 2 seconds.
What time did they leave you?
Well, we are left. They left us around 10:30 that way.
Okay.
And they took us from official town, but bringing us home, they left us at Timber Market with only a boxer short and no tops.
Wait, when you were going, were you wearing a shirt?
We are picked up from official town with no top.
You're not allowed to wear anything.
We are not allowed to wear dress. We are bare chested like my gentleman, but with only boxer shorts. From here to Michelle camp to Bema camp. In bringing us back, we were left at Timber Market, the runabout, naked like that, for us to come back to our residence, which is not good.
Some victims there. But what about the military? Well, the defense minister spoke on their behalf, and this is what he had to say.
Incidents like this in the life of the country do happen. We are shaping up a country, and we are going to have some of these incidents, regrettable incidences happening there. But I will still appeal to the people of Ghana to be very respectful of people in uniform. It will help all of us. But we cannot say, I will not say anything until the committee itself and us have gone on Thursday to the place and visited the place to ascertain for ourselves. One of the reasons why we are not going immediately is that investigation is still ongoing. We don't want to compromise whatever investigation that will happen. And that's why we task our colleague to tone down on the statement so that we can all work together as unison to ensure that this tricky situation is brought under control. We want a peaceful Ghana, that's all. So after Thursday, you will be hearing from us.
So that's the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitawul there. Where do you stand on this all-important subject this week that has dominated social media conversations across the board? Citizens, let's gather. Let's have our say on this about the military we currently have versus the military we deserve in the wake of the military invasion of Ashaiman that left more than 100 residents brutalized. Remember, this followed the tragic, very unfortunate, condemnable killing of an officer, and a few citizens are connecting with me tonight. We'll be connecting shortly with the victim of the Ashaiman brutality. Godsway will connect with us. He will connect with us on phone very shortly. Benedicta Akita is a legal practitioner. She will also connect with me. A young legal practitioner will connect with me. Captain John Kwame Jabari is a retired military officer. Will connect via Zoom. Haria Seidu is a programs officer with the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. Will also connect. Connecting with me right now on phone is Namata. And Namata is with the Economic Fighters League, which has issued a statement on this Ashaiman case. Hello, Namata.
Greetings. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Namata. Also connecting is Kweku Anan. He's an investigative journalist. He is the CEO of the Hawk Investigations PI and the Hawk TV. Hello, Kweku. Hello, Kweku. Okay, we'll get Kweku's attention to join us pretty shortly. But Namata, let me start with you. You issued a statement tonight. I wonder where you stand on what happened this week.
Well, I mean, of course, anyone who has any sort of understanding of human rights and what it takes to build a state would have to condemn these actions, right? This was a horrible breach of human rights. These were shocking events. Well, I wouldn't say shocking because we're not actually surprised, because what has happened is just the latest in a series of events which reveal a trajectory that we are dealing with as a nation. But, you know, all in all, we're just really, 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 really upset that, one, the state has allowed this to happen, two, that the military saw fit to defend these actions, and that, you know, there is this concern that we are going to find ourselves, as we did with the situation with Eriko Fortru and Ashaiman in 2020, and with the young men who were killed while protesting for Kaka's rights in 2021, we fear that there's going to be a situation where we find ourselves where these people are not held accountable for their actions, which is just a continuation of the lack of accountability that we are dealing with as a state. And I think it speaks to the fact that we have now built a nation in which there are certain people who are allowed to operate above the law And we always end up bringing this back to the fact that we are operating under a constitution that allows certain people the sort of impression of indemnity. There are clauses that indemnify people, but also the way in which they are able to operate is indicative of the fact that some are allowed to behave in certain ways that just cannot be accepted. Now, don't get me wrong. We reject and we stand with the military for the loss of their brother in arms, but it was not their place. It is not their mandate. They have usurped the power of the police to investigate a situation and resolve it. But that is also indicative of the fact that we are all sitting in a system that is non-functional, because there is no faith in the system. There is no faith in the ability of the police to follow through and find out who has taken this young man's life. And there is also no belief that they will be held accountable for actions that they take that are unconstitutional. So we condemn these actions in no uncertain terms. We cannot believe that there are those who are who are accepting this sort of behavior and moreover defending it. We cannot allow this to continue. This is just the latest in a series of events that are taking us down a very dangerous trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, Namata, so you stand with those who condemn this in no uncertain terms. Please stay with me. Kweku Wanan is with us. He holds a slightly different view to yours. Kweku, what do you say to Namata, that this cannot be excused?
Yeah, good evening to you and the listeners out there. First of all, may I say that we equally, myself and others, we sympathize those who were caught in the melee, as it were, citizens of Ghana, who on that fateful day were going to their various workplaces and others, were caught in this melee. We sympathize that this can be described as the emphasis in this very, call it operation, whatever, according to the military. But even having listened to the woman who just spoke.
Namata.
Yes. May I say that the morale of the military cannot, should not, and may not be compromised under any circumstances, whether or not the military has carried any action, be that it is considered as legitimate or otherwise. But in situations such as what we are seeing now, you and I can attest to the fact that it is becoming one too many in the situation of Denchira Obuasi, where yet another military officer was murdered, brutally killed. Now, even, you would appreciate one thing, that all these things, all what we are hearing, seeing, comes at the back of what? Indiscipline that has engulfed the Ghanaian society. And I'll go back to give you some, perspectives back. Ghana is believed to be a country that gained her independence in the south of the Saharan African continent. And shortly after independence, spirits of gloom, despondency have become a commonplace. Go back to history. The indiscipline can be said to have started way back, long ago, however. The Ghanaian again became a bit disciplined during the military era under former and late Flight Lieutenant General John Rawlings. Evans, there were men and women who are criticizing the military today. We're all here. The civil society groups, the political activists, whatever, call them their, in their various perspectives. We criticize. But then, ask yourself, shortly after the era, Ghana embraced the so-called democracy, and Ghana went down the abyss again, against the backdrop of what? Indiscipline across every facet of the Ghanaian society, politically, socially, religiously. And today, why is it that, and I'm not saying this to justify any military rule for whichever that one can say, yes, I therefore, as it were, endorse some excesses even in the military era. But the Ghanaian could resonate with a certain direction of decency. We could understand what time is it. Now, you look at what is happening at this very moment. Look, we have to understand one thing, that the military, there is what a convention, I will tell you, the military is the last line of defense, omega. Even when there is a crisis, nation, for example, like Ghana, we have state parastatals like customs, immigration, fire service, prison service, and whatnot. When all these state agencies lose control, lose the kind of inertia or the preponderance to be able to marshal to save the citizens like you and I, our last line of defense, Omega, is the military. Therefore, if at this time we allow the military to be reduced like a rag to mop the floor, and then it's eventually we are telling ourselves that we no longer have a security to protect, or we don't have anybody to protect as far as our security architecture is concerned. Now, come to think of what happened in Ashaman. Why do you think those living in Ashaman could not at least come to terms with what happened in Dinchirobwase, where all of us, the whole nation, and you can recall, all of us in Ghana, we glued to our set, the media, civil society groups, and all and sundry, sympathized with the family of late Major Mahama and the family. Today, the wife of Major Mahama, I don't know where she is, and then the children. Let's ask ourselves, the Ghanaian in Dinchirobwase who took the laws into their own hands and brutalized this military officer and killed him. Those in Ashaman, were they in Ghana? Those individuals, those thugs who killed this immoral guy, were they in Ghana and at least felt that taking the law into your own hands and killing an officer of the law is against the sovereignty of the state? Mind you, I have said somewhere not too long that police officers and all the law enforcement agencies are citizens of this country. They are Ghanaians. However, any officer that is wearing a uniform and we see him or her out there, that individual represents power and control. That individual is not in his or her private capacity. He is the state. And for that matter, any military officer we see them out there, they represent the state. That is why in addressing the president of the state, we don't say the president is the commander-in-chief of police or customs or immigration. We say the code is he is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. So any military officer there or a personnel, even, represent a certain form of power. That individual, no matter how his identity may appear to be or whatever, it does appear that the Ghanaian doesn't want to understand this drive.
Okay, but interesting thoughts there. Namata, you started this off. You heard his view. You accommodate the views of Kweku. Namata, please unmute for me on Zoom, please. Please unmute. I could see that you are talking, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I think I can. Can we fix the line? Because I can't hear Namata, but the line from the other end is terrible.
Is this better?
Hello, Namata? Okay, apologies there. I need to get you back on the telephone line properly so we can hear you, because I could see that you are talking there. Unfortunately, our system tonight is just not helping. We're trying to fix it, and we'll do so. But I would go on to the phone lines, and whilst we fix that particular challenge with that, and we have Godsway, who is a victim of the Shaman brutality, who joins us on phone. Is connected with us on phone. Hello, Godsway.
Hello, boss.
Godsway, yeah, thank you very much. So Godsway, quickly, what happened to you?
Okay. On the 7th of March, 2023, as at around 2 a.m., we were in our rooms when a group of military men parked their armored vehicles, more than 6, around the vicinity. So it was raining by then. So due to that, it made the community not to be able to go out. So we were in our room when the military men jumped over a fenced wall, gated, locked, jumped over and entered the house, breaked our doors, if you enter a house, there are trap doors to every room, break almost 3 trap doors, pulled us from bed to question us. In a matter of questioning us, they started assaulting us with all kinds of weapons, their guns, broomsticks, metal, anything they could find at the advantage points or used on us. We were drilled like a military man in the frontage of where they parked their armor car. So they went around all the neighbors where the incident really happened, picked a lot of young men, beat them. Women who are on their way to market were also beaten. And all of us have several injuries on our parts of our body.
Have you received any health care? Have you been to the hospital?
At 9 in the morning, and we were taken to Michelle camp. After the Michelle camp, it took them some hours, and they went to bring another troop from the new Tulaku to join us. We were there for some hours, and we heard that they were taking us to Bema camp for an investigation. When we went to Bema camp, we were still beaten by the military police who were questioning us and some of the investigators. And so, an hours of 10 p.m., which we were released and taken by their vehicles to Asama Timber Market runabout, and we were left there. We were dropped from their vehicle that we should go back to our destination. But where they dropped us, we were right naked from where they picked us from. We were only in boxer shorts, no top. No
and
shorts,
where were your clothes? Where were the clothes they picked you in?
You get?
The clothes you were wearing when they picked you up, where were they?
Oh, they told us to remove it at where they started brutalizing us. So we removed it there, and we were picked as no uniform, no top, nothing. And we were taken to Michelle camp from that place to Bema camp.
Did they give you something to eat? Did they give you something to eat?
Hello, please.
Did they give you something to eat?
Oh, no, we are not giving food. We moved from, when we got to Bema camp, it's when we were given one sachet of water to drink. Only a sachet of water to drink, everybody.
Have you been to the hospital since this happened to you?
Oh, yes, I've been to the hospital.
And what did the doctor say?
I have a doctor report concerning myself because I'm in a bad condition. All my body is paining me.
Gosway, please stay with me. And Namata is back on a telephone line. Namata, so that's the victim story, but you also heard the other side of the story with Kweku's analysis and input about the military still remains a very supreme, very important organization, and we shouldn't throw them under the bus. Do you accommodate the views he had there?
I had difficulty hearing some of what he said, but of what I did hear, I think it's very important that we point out that what the military did this week was not a show of strength. In fact, it showed the failing of our democracy, because it is not the mandate of the military to handle civilians in the manner that they did. It is the mandate of the police to maintain the law among civilians. And so in the fact that, one, the military showed that they had no faith that the law would be upheld and that justice would be had for the soldier. And two, that the military felt that they could go and take unconstitutional action. Regardless of what the situation is, the fact that the military feels free, as we have seen in many instances before, again, like I said, in the case of Eriko Fortu in that same Ashaiman a couple of years ago, in the case of the youth protesting against the murder of Kaka, and in fact, I can't remember, a while back on Joy, there was a report about military people raping and assaulting women in the north. So we can't actually declare that the military is then above the law and able to take actions where and when they see fit. And the fact that we believe that that is a show of order literally just takes us back to a point of origin, which we all know, again, which is the 1992 Constitution, which is a military document. It was founded on military law. And so when you look at that and the fact that so many of us are ready to justify these actions, which are breaches of our individual rights, is very clearly indicative of the fact that we are dealing with a failing state. This action was not about maintaining order. It was about the abuse of human rights, and it was about ignoring every single structure that has been put in place that is supposed to protect the rights of Ghanaians.
You make a very important point, and I want to put that to Kweku. But what you make of Namata's point, that this is not about enforcement of law and order. This was just about a group of military officers deployed by the hierarchy just to possibly terrorize a community, and they didn't even have the authority to do so. The police did.
You see, Evans, let me do this with you. But again, much as I try to, align a bit of some of the things that Amata has explained. However, may I say that I do not want to sound as if that I want to describe her to have read all the military manuals and some of the conventions that establish the military around the world. Even all military institutions, including ours, are trained to protect the territorial sovereignty of nations, including Ghana. Look, we have to understand one thing. How often do we see the military personnel in our neighborhoods? How often do we see our military personnel in town? How often do we see them going around with their uniforms? How often do we see them? The only time you will see the military in there means that something has gone terribly wrong. Either domestic policing, as you and I know, that our police officers are in charge of domestic policing. The only time the military comes in is because the police are overwhelmed of the situation, and therefore the military have to come and assist them, as it were, for whatever protection it is. But if police and military comes in or are out there doing their, going about their normal activities, and military personnel can face the wrath of the citizenry, then even we don't have protection any longer. Nevertheless, to suggest that in any unforeseen circumstances of external aggression, you are going to call the men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces. Hell no. You know what? You and I are here. Sometime last year, on the street of Accra, Cape Coast, a police officer standing before a trotro driver could run on this woman and kill the police officer instantly. The question remains, at what time and how can we say that citizens of Ghana, and for that matter, not like you and I in the elite class, but a trotro driver whose responsibility is to convey people from one end to the other, would be so emboldened, would have that alacrity and that prowess to be able to, as it were, disrespect a uniformed woman standing before her, and run on the woman and kill her instantly. Didn't we hear this? Question is, what has become of the Ghanaian? What is it that we don't know or we know? Or it is just a sheer abuse of what you call a certain right? I am hearing some of our civil society groups talking. Tale, it's not everything that we have to politicize it, or if you like, civil society groups, you must join the fray and make noise about it. Here, check what is happening even in America, in Israel. Let one Israeli soldier be killed by a Palestinian, and here you will see the whole Israeli army will just rally and descend heavily on the Palestinian people at the full glare of the international community. Haven't we heard that? Why do you think so? Is the law being fair? Are we fair to the system? What I'm trying to say, as I said in my earlier comments, that our military are the last line of defense, Omega, and we must protect them sacrosanctly. I am saying this also not to imply that they are above the law. No. But then by convention, every nation belongs to the military. They are in charge. They are our last protectors, and they are there to ensure that at any given circumstances where something goes terribly wrong, we invite them. So if Ghana, we've gotten to this point of so much gross indiscipline, and we could even abuse our... Look, how many police officers haven't we had killed? But the question remains, what emboldens the Ghanaian to be able to look at the face of a police officer in a uniform, or to be able to look at the face of a custom officer, immigration officer, and we abuse them? What I'm saying is that, look, the law enforcement agencies whose responsibility is to ensure that they check A, B, C, D are there. Why don't we resort to this court, but rather we take the law into our own hands? I have a video here, Ivan, and guess what is in this video? In some way, BBNE, as I speak, this video, I can forward it to you, where these soldiers are well armed, well protected gear, and galamseyers, in a close shave, trying to battle the military, personnel in BBNE against the backdrop of what? Looking for gold. Meanwhile, they are galamseyers. So the soldiers were sent to the forest to protect Ghana's forests and water bodies. Let it be that these officers feel threatened and then they will shoot about 3 or 4 of these galamsees. By the close of day, it will be reported in the news market that soldiers have killed 3 or 4 Ghanaians. Against what? We will not, we will not hear the report that they are galamsees, number 1. 2, they were threatening the military personnel. You see, gone are the days that Evans, you and I, can be scared when we see military people. Not necessarily because they are frightening us, but you see, there is a certain, call it quote, oracle around them that we resort to ensure that they will do what is right and protect us. Now, any day, any time that there's like a pandemic or take it for example like a flood, even our agency, we have to call them in this circumstance, will be that of NADMO and Ghana Fire Service. But let's take it in a hypothetical situation that these agencies are unable to, as it were, rescue. Our next line of rescue mission is the 64 Regiment. Check this record. And as soon as they get in there, they will perform a miracle. What it means is that the military have, every facet of the society, they have people being trained to take care of any eventuality.
And Kweku, there's something you said that I want to put to Gosway, who lives in Ashaiman and was a victim of this. And I want to pick Gosway's thoughts because it has been suggested, and not only by you, Kweku, the Deputy Minister of Defense and the Substantive Minister of Defense, Nito, have all said same. Gosway, let me ask you. So, the military officer who was killed in Taifa, Ashaiman, the military tell us that the reason why they had to do what they did to you and others is because not only was the fact that the officer was killed in Ashaiman in that community, but because when he was dying and he called for help, nobody came to his aid. And this is a gentleman who is wearing a uniform and is supposed to be putting, if it comes to it, put his life on the line for you, Gosway, and everybody else. So do you understand when Kweku and the minister suggest that our society has gotten to a place where we stopped appreciating the importance of the military, and these events may happen as we begin to get to a point where we pay the proper respect to our military? Do you understand that at all? Hello, Gosway.
They've connected me.
Okay, Gosway doesn't have my attention. I don't have Gosway's attention. Instead, I'll get Gosway because I need to hear his view. That's a victim's view on that suggestion that had been made this week. Hello, Gosway.
Yes, please.
Gosway, I'm just asking you. Do you understand it when people?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Gosway? Hello, Gosway.
Hello.
Yes, Gosway, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, Master.
Gosway?
Hello, Master.
Okay. Let's rectify that. Gosway is in a place where he's struggling to hear me. But no matter, final thoughts on this, and I'll try and bring in a retired military officer to connect with us on that particular subject as well. On the point he's making, that our society is gradually becoming indisciplined, and incidents such as we've seen, although yes, condemnable, as the defense minister suggests earlier, will happen as part of our democratic development, and that people need to respect the military.
Hello, guys.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Namata.
Okay. I think the point that I keep coming back to, and I think I really want to address what Kweku was saying, is that even any indiscipline and everything that you are addressing all go back to the fact that we are dealing with a failing state. You cannot have a situation where you are now saying that because there is a form of indiscipline, then the military is above the law. If they are above the law, then who are they loyal to? You gave an example which I'm uncomfortable with because the Israelis are colonial settlers on Palestinian land. But let's even use that example. The Israeli military against the Palestinians is the example you used. We are talking about Ghanaian military and Ghanaian people. They are not adversaries. They are supposed to be working together. And what you are describing is a situation in which one is supposed to oppress the other. This is not the situation that we are supposed to be fostering here if we are to be building democracy. And when you talk about maintaining law and maintaining all these kinds of things, then again, we have to go back to the system. Because you cannot have a situation when a military whose mandate is to protect this nation, to protect our sovereignty, is then attacking its own people. We have a force, a police force that is mandated to do that. And so if they are not doing that, then again, we question what is failing in the system that the police force is either not doing what it is mandated to do, it is failing, or it is falling short, or whatever it is doing. We do not respond by reverting to a sort of militarized state when we are declaring that we are walking towards democracy. This does not make any sense. And so, in many ways, the examples that you have described are actually indicative of what our argument is, which is that we are saying that we are finding ourselves casualizing, normalizing a return to sort of military rule, and we are normalizing the idea that our rights must be sort of put aside when a force such as the military or some other military body decides that that is the case. That is not how you build a democracy, and it is not how you foster any sort of sense of nationalism, and it is not also how you build discipline. That is how you build oppression. And so we cannot accept that, and we cannot normalize that among the public. We cannot.
Gentleman and lady, stay with me. I want to hear the thoughts of a retired military officer who connects with us now, Captain John Kwame Jabari. Captain, thank you for connecting with us here on Ghana Connect.
Good evening, Evans.
Where do you stand on this conversation?
This conversation is a very difficult one to have at this point of time in our democracy. Coming out from the military ranks, I have a different view on most of the views that have been shared by my co-panelists on this platform. I believe that Africa must have its own form of democracy. You know, Africa, any weakness shown by armed forces, that any member of its people can be attacked and killed without nothing being done about it, brings about problem. I would like to take my conversation in relation to Major Mahama. What happened to him at Donka when he was sent on official duty to go and operate over there, when he was attacked and killed by the people from that town. You know, when that incident happened, it took down the morale of most of the people in the armed forces, mostly the soldiers or the troops in the armed forces, that a serving soldier has been sent on official duty to go protect our national resources, has been attacked by its own people and killed. Until date, we can't find the perpetrators, or those people have not been prosecuted. When such thing happens, there's a problem with morale and control of the men who are in the armed forces. That is the solution that the military high command have to find a solution to. So when an incident like Ashama happens and there is no form of arrest or nothing done about it, it breaks down the rank and structure of the armed forces, and it weakens the armed forces that we want to build as a nation. That is why something has to be done about it. When such people or military people are killed in the open, outside, in public like that, in Ghana, the action taken by the military, some might say it's unconstitutional, it must be done by the police. But we are all in Ghana here, and we know the conduct and the behavior of the people of Ashaman towards robberies and all social vices. So if a military man, I don't know the offense that he committed, that he deserves to die, if the military has taken that, okay, if this thing has happened, let's use this incident to clear off all armed robbers or pickpocket people or drug dealers from Ashaman. We should rather welcome it. In every operation that is being conducted by the armed forces, either by U.S. Army, Russian Army, French Army, they are always innocent people who will be caught up in that action. That is something that we all must understand. Any even authorized action of the police, sometimes innocent civilians get involved in it. The point is that when we look at the pros and benefits of it, does it help the country or does it spoil the country? Those are the issues we must look at. I look at this action, this thing, the military have done it time and time again. When I was in service, I led a team of people. We sent some people for a Galamsey operation in somewhere at Mensah. They caught the military people, broke their legs. Till now, some of those people are still at Kolebu being treated. We have to go and show that you cannot just do something like that to law enforcers and get away with it.
Yeah, but
some of the actions might be bad.
But Jabari, so I know you were going to say that. Yeah, some may be bad, but if it's illegal, it is illegal. It's illegal to kill a military officer. It's also illegal for the military to take the law into their own hands and also beat people. And so, if you continue what you're doing, that is creating a lawless society for everybody else. You don't admit that is the real challenge of this, and that you, the military guys, you've been trusted with arms, guns, ammunition, weapons, etc. You have a greater responsibility to uphold the law and not to abuse it when the ordinary faceless guys do same to you.
Even when you say abuse of it, that's where I have a problem. When you look at the statement issued by the Ghana Armed Forces, they indicated people who were arrested, people who had arms with them, people who had cocaine with them, people who had all sort of items with them. Why are we not talking about those people now? When the military went in, they were able to arrest armed robbers, they were able to arrest suspected people. But we are concentrating on, I will not say the small casualty. No, every casualty is a casualty. We should, I think, as a nation, we have to focus on the positive aspect of what they did.
Okay, positive aspect of what they did. I just have a minute to wrap up, and I want to give it to Namata because she obviously up here. We had many connectors who had joined us on Zoom, but obviously because of a challenge tonight with our Zoom connection, we weren't able to hear all the views. But Namata appears to be the lone voice in this, making the point that this needs to change. So Namata, so wrap it up for me in a minute. This will continue to happen. And you've had the Kweku and the retired captain make the point that to fix the problem, people need to simply respect the men in uniform and stop taking the law into their own hands. How do we fix this and build a more harmonious relationship between the military and the citizens? Just a minute.
Look, every time this sort of issue comes up, we, with the Economic Fighters League, we come back to the 1992 Constitution. The 1992 Constitution is a military document. It does not hold people accountable. There's too much indemnity for people in power. And so it is necessary, in order to start looking at a situation in which the people's rights are respected, in which people's mandates are honored, and creating structures which are then possible to follow without the corruption that we are witnessing, it is necessary for us to have a new constitution under which all of us are able to see a system that is operating in service of the people. Like we said, we do not say that the murder of this police officer, this soldier should be neglected or just ignored. Not at all. We should not say that any of these things that happen are things that we sweep aside. But we do not accept that we now sort of dismiss any sorts of laws and push them sideways. And the fact that this system allows for people to sort of just surpass and do things in the way that they feel serves them, meaning that they are not accountable to anyone, is guiding us down to the path of lawlessness, as I've just said. And so for us, the solution, again, comes to first accountability. These people we must first know who sent these commands out to, and they must be tried, and there must be a process of compensation for the people of Ashaiman.
Okay, and we've heard that that is one thing that is being pursued by the victims. Kweku Anan joined us and connected with us. Thank you very much, Kweku. Thank you, Captain John Kwame Jabari. He's a retired military officer, for connecting us. And Namata, as always, thanks for connecting. He's a fighter general joining us with his thoughts. And 2 quick thoughts on social media, Papa.
Yeah, from Richard, he says that I think the guys who killed the young soldier did not do well, but that does not mean that the soldiers should go out to Ashaiman to do what they did to innocent civilians. Another one here, he didn't give us his name. He says, Ghana is getting out of hand. Every time it's right. We need military rule to whip us back in line. It's getting ridiculous how citizens behave. No respect for the law and law enforcers, Evans.
Okay. Okay, and so those are the two views represented in Ghana Connect tonight. Let's continue the conversation on many social media platforms. Enjoy the rest of your evening.